Today we're going to be reviewing how to customize desktops in the software. So first and foremost, when you open the software, you have to go to Display, click on Display, left mouse click, and open the menu. Once you go to the first subtitle, it's called Desktop Panels, you drag your mouse over to the right, and what you want to do is unlock your desktop. So by clicking here on the lock desktop, you will unlock the desktop, and you will notice these two little lines will present themselves at the top of each window. Also at the bottom of each window, you'll have these diagonal lines. And these are active tools that allow you to manipulate size of the things on the screen. Also within the display menu, you have a number of things under desktop panels. You also have viewports, and you have a couple of other things that we'll review in another video. In terms of the viewports, this will allow you to choose how many viewports you would like to be displayed on the screen. So as you see here, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the viewports on the screen currently. So if you wanted to change this layout in any way, you can just grab any of the windows and move them around and place them anywhere you'd like. And you can change the size of a window as well. Okay? So if you would like to add a window, you can add a window or a viewport. You can move any of these windows around as well. So this is where you can activate tools on the screen also. So under Display Desktop Panels, you have a number of tools in the upper portion here in these upper two sections that allows you to have different tools available on the screen. As an example, if I wanted to have the contrast tool, I could click on it. It now becomes active on the screen. I can grab it, drag it, place it on the screen, and then I have to go to Display Desktop Panels, Save Desktop. So this will save the changes that I've made. So now this will always remain here, and I can use it when I'm looking at an X-ray, and if I wanted to change the contrast through this tool, I can do this. This desktop that I've chosen is desktop number 4, and in this icon with the diagonal lines, you have a menu that if you left mouse click on the icon and hold it for a second, you will see that there's 5 desktops that I can program based on my practice needs. And as you've seen here, I've named some of them, which you can name them in the setup, which I'll show you after. And then you can have 5 different layouts. So I'll just show you the 5th one here, before and after. So this is an area where I've made 2 large windows or viewports. I've put the tools lengthwise at the bottom with the patient information. So if I wanted to change this, I could easily go again to my display, make sure that I'm unlocked that desktop so I have my 2 lines showing, so I know that I can modify. So if I look at the bottom left of the viewport, it tells me what number viewport this is. Number 1, this is number 2. So I can now change this by changing the size of the viewport. I can grab another one and change the size. If it ever hides behind another one, you have to make sure you bring it out so you can see the tool on the edge, so you can grab it and change the size. There's a little bit of finagling here and playing with the viewports and changing sizing and trying to line things up. But this is where it does take some time, but once you've done it once, it's done forever. This is where if I wanted to add a third viewport, I could add a third viewport here. And again, I have to grab those 2 little lines, and I would put that there and try to size. And if I really wanted to see if I can get a similar size, I might put it underneath one of them and try to line it up to be a similar width. And then I could grab it and put it next to it and try to get a similar size on the bottom to make it a similar size. Okay, if I wanted to change, let's say, the shape of the toolbar button, same thing. I grab the edge and I can just make it a vertical box if I'd like, just by dragging, left mouse clicking and dragging it where I'd like, and then leaving it in that place. On the display desktop panels, you have a number of tools that you can activate, that you can play with and see which ones you would like. Like the windowing tool is something that I do like to display. And this is the windowing tool that you see here. Okay, so this is a tool that is used for X-ray diagnosis. So I might make a little room for it. I'll make this window a little bit wider. I'll bring this down maybe a little bit. And then I'll add underneath the windowing is the slider combo. So if I click on this, here's another tool that allows me to manipulate different colors in a picture. I personally don't really use it that often. That's why I don't have them on my desktops. But again, this is where you can choose whatever you'd like to have as a tool, appearing on the screen. The info bar, you can change also the size of the font. So if you'd like to have your info bar to have a little more, larger, bolder information on the patient's information, you can increase that there. And always remember that you have to save those changes. You want to save that desktop change. Otherwise, it will revert back to what it was. And I've learned that the hard way, having to redo things over and over. So again, you can activate all these different type of tools. So once you've done all that, you can easily, we'll just add that here. You can add your mount if you'd like. So we click on here and we want to see the image library, let's say. So we can open up the library and we can change the shape of that library. If I want to have my educational library visible, and I can bring it down and put it on the right side here. If I wanted to have, let's say I wanted to get rid of the notification center, and I'll just put in maybe the mount view, which is what we normally like to use, the mount view for the images that you have. So I'll put that in, and that's where I have to try to now fit it in with the library. So I'll shrink my library a little bit, and then maybe I'll put it down to this size, and then I'll drag it down and I'll move it here, and then I'll try to get my mount in position, and I'll open this up a little wider to make sure I can see all the teeth in the mount. The largest mount that we've created has been the intraoral camera mount. So usually if I'm sizing the mount, I'll try to do this with the intraoral camera, because I see every single tooth number for the intraoral camera here, and I can bring it down and make sure that I fit in all the images there, and then I can adjust my library in function of that size to try to see if I can fit it all on one screen, just like this. So pretty much 5 rows, and then I can fit it in there, and then I can add that icon, that viewport. I can size the viewport, and then I go display desktop panel, and I would save that desktop. So now whenever I go back to my my number 1, where I had 4 bite wings in a pan kind of laid out and set up, if I ever go back now to my number 5, it will always be remaining in that way, and I'll have my desktop set up in that way. So that's how you modify your desktops, and that's how you can save those changes, and you can name them. In order to name them, you go into the general setup. Okay, and in the general setup, you go to options. You're going to go to setup right here. And then when you go to display settings and you go to the end where we have the different layouts at the end of sub-desktop custom names, you can name here each one of your desktops based on the layout and what will, I guess, allow you to know what you've created, what you've laid out, and what that desktop layout is. And then you would again save changes. You would just click here and you could type in any of the changes you'd like, Bitewing, etc., and then save change and exit. And now when you go back here and you'll see the different layouts, you left mouse click and hold and you have Bitewing, etc. So that's how you modify your desktops and save them, and you can name them and do a wide variety of different layouts based on your needs, based on the imaging that you do, and based on what you're presenting to patients.